Welcome back to Virginia This Morning. Now that classrooms are in plenty of living rooms, we're all looking for resources. And recently, Andrea's connected with a parent technology advocate who shared ideas about free educational resources. Here's that conversation.
You're likely spending more of your time at home with your children, and much of that time is being spent teaching them and creating balance in your household. Today, we have the opportunity to chat with Caleb Kinshow, author of Parents, Kids, and Technology, here to share with us a couple resources you can use starting even today. Hi, Caleb.
Hey, thank you so much for having me back on the show. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us. So, what can parents use for creating an educational schedule and handling the Common Core now that they find themselves being homeschoolers while still trying to manage the demands of their work life?
Right, and that is definitely the one of the biggest challenges. So the first resource I want to talk about is from a company called Khan Academy. Now what they do is they actually specialize in education, not just for the sake of taking tests, but really for helping students to master the different curricular activities. So the first thing they have on there is they actually have a schedule that's broken down, that's easy to follow, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, that goes literally all the way till 6 o'clock at night, if you like, with a breakdown of the schedule. That way, as parents, you don't have to think about at all what you're going to do with your students. Now, once you log into Khan Academy, you first off, well, it's free, by the way, you log in by your grade level. And once you're inside, you have access to just a plethora of different creative resources, everything from basic mathematics all the way to SAT testing, the GMAT, the MCAT, all those different things. And they even have audio versions and text and videos available as well. That way students can watch and just learn with the narrator. And then on top of that, they even have quizzes to make sure that your student has really mastered that particular subject.
That's fantastic. And it sounds like, it's a really comprehensive resource that takes the guesswork out of it for parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So, of course, as you think about, the anxieties that parents must be feeling right now, they don't want to feel like they're losing time or that there's a lapse in education. So, of course, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math is a really critical part of that learning. So, what do we want parents to be introducing at this time?
Yeah, and STEM fields are the biggest growing field happening for students. They really need to be involved in that. So the resource I just love, this one's called Codeorg. Now, what's so cool about this organization is that they're actually in partnership with a lot of major tech companies. So you've got Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, all these people supporting this project. Now, we log on to Codeorg. It basically teaches students how to code using a gamification setup. So literally you can go in there, you can do Barbie, you can do Cartoon Network, you can do race cars, NASCAR, basketball, dancing. Basically you teach your kids how to code, and by coding, it lets the characters on the screen do all the different movements. So it makes it really fun in this process of learning how to do the coding aspect of it.
Wow. So you're looking at a resource now that, regardless of age, would give them a leg up from a science perspective, engineering, math, technology, that's going to really carry them through the rest of their learning experiences.
Absolutely. And what's actually pretty cool about this as well is I was researching that even some of the advanced coders, in the college level and even the career field, still use this resource to sharpen their skills. So it's definitely something that parents want to check out.
Mm-hmm. So then we've got, reading and comprehension and making sure that you're still keeping literature a big part of what you're doing. So when it comes to reading, how should that kind of be introduced, and how do we encourage the creativity of reading and the imagination?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want something that's not, just very tech focused on the screen, so Amazon's company Audible has actually provided this free resource. So for as long as the pandemic is happening, they're providing a series of audiobooks for their students. And the thing I love about this, I think a lot of teachers will really like this as well, is that these audiobooks include the literary classics. So you're talking about Romeo and Juliet, you're talking about Moby Dick, Jungle Book, all the things that students are going to be reading or would be reading anyway if they were still in school.
Yeah, and I actually am a big fan of Audible. I use that for most of my reading because it gives me an opportunity to kind of do two things at once sometimes, but also make use of those times where I feel like I can't necessarily sit down and flip through the pages of a book. But I think that's a great way. I hadn't even thought about that for children, but that's a great way for them to get involved, and a pretty inexpensive way for them to do so.
Right, and particularly now because it's free. So, thank you to Amazon and Audible for providing that resource.
Yeah, definitely. Especially could be a great resource for something you can put on for them while you have another call or that sort of thing to keep them occupied, but also learning at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, Caleb, your book, Parents, Kids, and Technology, talks a lot about what it takes to raise kids in the age of technology and the balance that we want to keep in our households. So tell us a little bit about what we can do as parents to keep track of what your child might be doing online without being a helicopter parent.
Right. So the first thing that parents can understand is the access that the device has. If the device has an on switch and Wi-Fi, we have to know more than just the name of the device. Oh, that's the PlayStation, the Switch, the Xbox. You have to understand the access. So on these devices, can they access YouTube, the internet? Can they chat? If they can, it's your responsibility to go on there and to put filters in place to limit some of that information. Now, the second aspect of it is with their mobile devices. So parents, they absolutely have to, one, have conversations about expectations, but they also need to install different filters in place to block the content. Now, the filters some of them will actually block mature content, but the big thing is that these filters also allow you to limit how much screen time they are using, which is very important.
Yeah, absolutely key, and something that we all need to be thinking about right now. I mean, your book prepared us even before it, but right now we've got to make sure that we're paying attention to that and really taking heed to those filters and the settings that are already built in to help us manage that. We thank
Absolutely.
you so much for being with us today and for sharing that wonderful piece of knowledge. If you'd like to learn more about Caleb and his book, Parents, Kids, and Technology, visit our website, wtvr.com/BTM, for a link